Good morning. Thank you guys for being here today. So I'm Mrs. Bridges. I'm your college and career counselor, and we're so happy to have you guys here today. We want to give a big thanks to our Battlefield alumni for coming out on their break right after final exams for first semester. Miss Epps is going to be our MC today. She's our college and career, our school counselor here at Battlefield, and so we're going to go ahead and get started.
So earlier, a couple of weeks now, we sent out a survey for students to send their questions in. So this will not be an open mic for you all sitting in the audience. We have questions that you've gathered. We have quite a few questions that you have sent in, which our panel has copies of. So they'll be going off of those questions for today. So we can go ahead and get started. If I can have everyone on my panel, starting with Miles at the end. Just share your name, the college that you're at, your major, and any special experiences you currently have at school.
My name is Miles Williams. I go to Virginia Tech. I'm a business undecided major. I'm involved with the College of Business Ambassadors, and I also work with Virginia Tech Television.
My name is Martin Vanier. I go to Old Dominion University. I'm double majoring in electrical and computer engineering, and I'm a student entrepreneur.
My name is Emily Garahan. I go to Northern Virginia Community College. I'm an education major. Yeah.
My name is Macy Powell. I go to Coppin State University. I'm an elementary education major. I play D1 volleyball, and I'm in the honors program.
Hello, I'm Johanna Svegai. I go to University of Southern California. I'm majoring in communication and minor in digital studies, and I'm involved in the undergraduate student government and Troy, Philippines.
Hi, I'm Tristan. I go to the University of Virginia. I'm majoring in math with a minor in econ, and I'm involved with the University Democrats and volunteer programs on campus.
Hi, my name is Sydney King. I go to Christopher Newport University, and I'm double majoring in bio and neuroscience, and I'm on the sailing team at CNU.
So I'd like to remind my panel, just because we have so many questions, and I'm going to open some of these questions up for all of you. If only one of you can answer and keep it short so that we can share the experiences. If someone has already shared your experience, no reason to share it again, just for the sake of time. So just for beginning, during high school, what were some of the things that you could have done differently or wish you knew in high school that could have better prepared you for your post-secondary experiences? So we have Miles going first.
It's important to have like good time management because like most of y'all, if you're going to college, you know how to do your work, but doing it the smart way is important because college is a different level, and you try to do your high school ways in college, you're gonna get caught up. So it's better to just be organized and have a routine and stick with it with your college so everything can go smoothly.
So maybe in high school, I think a lot of people, they waited to do their work when they got to class. When you're in college, it doesn't work like that. You have to do your work on your own time. And you have to really keep that in mind because you can't just walk into your lecture and just sit down and do the work when you have to turn something in like right away.
So hearing those time management skills would have been important to start learning in high school because that would have made your college experience a bit simpler starting off. All right. So with Peyton at Nova, I know you have a special experience besides just being at Nova taking classes. Can you tell us a bit about that? Is Peyton here? Oh, I did her name. All right. Then what was the college application process like? For anyone that can answer.
Honestly, I think it was more stressful than it had to be. You'll end up where you're supposed to end up. And if you, like, I mean, that's like what I found out through the whole process. It's like wherever you go, you'll be successful.
And how did you know the school that you're at is the right school for you?
Well, for me, I personally made like a checklist, like of things that are important to me. So I knew that school spirit, which is something really not traditional that people look for their colleges, but school spirit, my majors program, the weather, and just like specific stuff to me that I personally like, and eventually at the end of the day, USC just checked all the boxes for me without any exception, so I knew that. And when I toured, that's definitely something you have to do, is touring. Sometimes when you tour and like walk through campus, you just really feel that you should be there and like you belong there. So if you have like a list of schools that you want to look into, that's definitely something that I encourage you all to do, is if you can, just like get in campus, get an official tour, and just like get the feel of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the feel of the campus is the most important part. I don't think you should be applying or planning to attend universities just for like the name recognition or the prestige, because you'll kind of just get too caught up in the process and like bogged down by everything. So just where you feel most comfortable, because at the end of the day, like it's a college degree and you shouldn't worry about necessarily exactly the name on your certificate. So.
And then for our new addition that just joined, can you go ahead and introduce yourself with your name and college and major?
Hi, I'm Amy Dwyer. I go to James Madison University and I'm a freshman accounting major.
And then we have one more addition. If you can also introduce your name, major, and the school that you're at. Go ahead.
My name is Omar Saeed, and I go to George Mason University, and I'm a biology major and music minor.
And then the last question on the application process. A lot of students had questions about applying early versus applying regular decision. Have any of our students on the panel applied early to their college?
The one school I applied early to, I got referred to regular.
Okay.
So like, I think it's better to just like apply regular everywhere, because you don't want to. I wouldn't do binding unless you know you want to go there, because like you wouldn't have choices and things change. Don't like tie yourself down.
If you can apply early action, which is not binding, then I would suggest applying early action everywhere, because you just hear back sooner and you have more time to make a better decision. Only apply early decision if like that's been your dream since you were like a child, because it's binding and you don't want to like somehow get out of that, because it's like kind of possible but basically impossible. So honestly, regular decision, early action seems the way to go, just depending on how your essays are.
So I'm going to take a second to describe the terms that our panel's using. Early decision, as they're saying, is a binding decision, meaning that when you're applying to this school saying, yes, if you get accepted, I'm going there. It is binding, meaning that you shouldn't break that. It's like a contract you're signing. Early action is applying early. Some things to take into consideration as you hear the different experiences on our panel is that you're being compared with other peers at school and in Virginia that are applying to the school early as well. So looking at those higher classes, those advanced AP dual enrollment, the grades and the GPA all take into consideration the peer group that you're applying with, and then regular decision. Still applying to the school, still getting everything in on time, but just a later date that you're turning everything in. So just back to deciding which school you should attend. Johanna, can you share your experience with going to a school that is out of state?
So I applied to like one Virginia school and like 5 California schools. So I kind of like played with my luck and like was like, you know what, whatever. But I knew that like independence was not gonna be I don't think like hardship for me. Like I've always been like independent. And I knew that my parents didn't limit me in where I wanted to go. So I knew that communications and the media industry in Los Angeles, I knew that that's where I was like meant to be. And distance-wise, with the technology we have with like FaceTime, and honestly, I never really felt like homesick or anything. So I think like if you know that you're ready to move out far away, I don't think there should be anything stopping you. Because I don't like finances, of course, or anything. But personally, it has been chill journey. Moving out, like it definitely feels like, you know, I'm like getting my independence. Like it was a big jump, but I think it was what I needed to jumpstart like my adulthood.
So that independence was an important factor as far as being out of state. And Macy, what has your experience been like at Coppin?
So my school is an HBCU, which stands for Historically Black University. it's been a different experience because I am a minority. I've learned a lot. I go to school in Baltimore, which is a relatively black area, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about the culture. I've learned a lot about myself, and I think it was a really good experience. I don't think it's for everyone. One of the biggest factors I picked in my school is the fact that like everybody's so like together, and it's like family oriented, and I thought that was really great. It did take some getting used to, but I think after a while, like I definitely found myself like this is like where I was supposed to be, and I do think that a lot of people don't take HBCUs into mind, and I think that people really should because they're no different than a normal college, and so yeah.
And then Emily, can you share with us your experience with NOVA and the Pathways program that you participated in high school as well?
Excuse me. When I was in high school and doing the NOVA process, you would communication is the #1 key, and I know there's one teacher, Miss J. Johnson, she always says communication is key, and it actually is because you have to communicate with your professors saying, oh, I'm not going to be in this class because due to a doctor's appointment or whatever you have, and I really liked it because they help you along your academic ways, and if you're not doing so hot, they're like, oh, Emily, we need to think about this grade in this one class, or you need to start studying or go to the tutoring center. And so the Pathways program has been very helpful, and they'll follow you through your you do 2 years at NOVA, and whatever college you want to go to, they'll follow you there as well. So that's what I like. You don't have to go, because it's through George Mason, you don't have to go to George Mason. I want to go to Longwood for my education degree. So yeah.
I'm going to open this question back up to everyone. With choosing a college or choosing a post-secondary plan, here at high school, here at Battlefield, we use a best fit language, choosing the best fit for you. How did you know what school is the best fit for you, or how did you start searching for schools that way?
I knew Virginia Tech was the best fit for me. Excuse me. When I went there and I felt motivated. You're not there to just have fun. You're there to learn. I went to other places and I felt comfortable, but I didn't feel motivated. So you gotta get that vibe when you go there, and that's how you know it's the best fit when you're motivated to do better.
So for me, I did not have the pleasure of visiting any of my colleges because of time commitments. So what you really want to make sure you do is just get a checklist of what Sydney said, of what you want in college, and see what it has. And then you can also look online at the different reviews that they have, and a lot of people tell about your experiences there and possible things that may be due. One of the biggest things I wanted to see was just internship opportunities. So one of the big areas is you want to make sure you're in an area too that's really good for that, because I'm in a technical field. So let's say I do go to Virginia Tech. Well, the school may be great for that. When you look around, there's hardly any opportunities for internships. While in Norfolk, you have shipyards and all these other engineering opportunities you can attend.
I mean, just because I go to Virginia Tech, I'm not gonna say it's fake news, but there's opportunities everywhere you go, and with Tech, also there's a big alumni base, so there's definitely opportunities in whatever you want to do.
I'm going to jump in on here before it continues. So from what I'm hearing, it's important to not only visit the schools beforehand to maybe see if that's where you fit on campus, but if you don't have the time to visit schools, especially schools that are 3 or 4 hours away or out of state, then gathering a checklist of what is right for you. Do you like being in a city school or a smaller school, far away from home where you have to have that independence out of state, or closer, maybe where you can drive home on the weekends? Internship opportunities, knowing what major and what you're interested in can vary between colleges and the opportunities that each college and university may have. So also making sure you know what you're interested in and what that specific school can provide for you. So one more person.
You brought up a really good point. A lot of people don't like going to schools far away or not ready, or they think they're ready. So I go to a school that's only about an hour and a half away, So I do think when you're considering a college, that's a huge thing. Like when you think you're ready to go somewhere super far, you might not. And so I always think it's good to apply to a school that's close and a school that's far, just in case, and so you can get a good feel. I think that's just a really important thing when you're deciding in a college.
So as we talk about opportunities at the school, Tristan, can you tell us what type of opportunities you have gotten involved in at your school? And how did you go about finding those opportunities?
Okay, so the first week at UVA, there's like this huge, basically just like fair at the amphitheater, which is just like a central location there. And like all the CIOs, which are just like the club names there, come and have their own booth. And there's like probably 500 of them at least. There's just a ton of clubs. And they just kind of like give you information and pamphlets and like basically try to recruit you and whatever. And so I went to there obviously, and I got involved with two main programs. One of them was the University Democrats program, so we just like do get out the vote efforts, things like that. And I got involved with the Madison House, which is the volunteer group there, and specifically with this program called CASH, which is basically they train like you have to apply, and they train 100 people. We get tax certified, and we get to do taxes for the lower income members of the Charlottesville community. So that's like the thing I'm most passionate about that I got involved in UVA. And it's just basically my word of mouth and like being able to like not know the right people, but like know where to apply and just like kind of presenting yourself in a good way to people. So.
And Annie, can you share with us your upcoming plans for studying abroad and how you heard about that opportunity?
Yeah, so I'm studying abroad this May as only a freshman student. So I heard about it. Once you get to college, you get a college email that you use for almost everything. And so the school will send out emails constantly. So because I'm in the College of Business, one of the emails they sent out was that there was a study abroad opportunity to study in Ireland for about 3 weeks in May, right after our spring semester ended. And they were like, oh, we're having a big study abroad fair for the whole university. Just go to the Festival Ballroom, which is a location on campus, and you can find out more information. So I just went to that and spoke to the program director, and I had to apply online, so I had to have a resume, write a few essays, talk about my previous abroad experience, which I had none, and then just kind of fill out that formal process, and then I had to meet with the director again to kind of do an interview. And there are GPA requirements, so after the fall semester ended, he was going to go back and look in to see if we met the GPA requirements. And so I'll be spending 3 weeks in Ireland, about a week and a half in Dublin, and then a week and a half in Galway. And so I'm going to be going to different accounting firms like KPMG, Deloitte, so that's part of the Big Four, Facebook, Yahoo, Yelp, to go and kind of just network with some individuals over there. Along with, I'm getting a class done. So when you're over there, you do have to do classes, just not, oh, we're gonna go over there and like spend 3 weeks in Ireland. I have a class that I have every single morning, and it's actually going towards my major. So I'm getting a class done that would take me 16 weeks. I'm getting that done in 3 weeks. So it's really nice. I recommend doing a study abroad at some point in college. There's tons. And they last anywhere from a semester long to about 3 weeks, and you can even do like shorter trips domestically, so it's a really great opportunity.
Sydney, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add, Annie was talking about the shorter study abroad trips. We're both doing something called Maymester, so she's studying abroad, and I'm doing what's called study away. So I'm staying in the US, but I'm hiking the Appalachian Trail, which is like something I wouldn't get to do during the year. So yeah, something to look at when you're in college is study away, which is like typically shorter and you can do within a month. And we call it Maymester. I don't know what JMU calls it.
Are those also for college credit, the study away programs?
JMU doesn't have study away programs. We have alternative break programs or alternative weekend programs. So I know the College of Business, during our spring break, we were planning on going to Nashville to do a Habitat for Humanities project. So there's even local, like domestic trips that look really, that are really great opportunity. You can put it on your resume. It's also a really great way to give back to the community. Something like Habitat for Humanity is really great, especially in the national community. So, and they're a lot cheaper than the study abroads, so that if that's a factor, you can still get some sort of travel experience. I've never been to Nashville, so it's just a good way to get a better or greater experience outside of Virginia.
So it sounds like schools and colleges have not only study abroad programs, but programs where you can stay in the country as well. The biggest thing I'm hearing is that they do go by different names. So whether it's study abroad or study away, alternative weekends or alternative spring breaks, keep a lookout for these different names for these programs and the experiences that you can have. And then with Sydney and Macy, can you talk about your time commitment when it comes to being in either band, ROTC, or student athlete? So if you can just say what it is that you do, the time commitment, and how you got involved as well.
So I play D1 volleyball, and it takes up a lot of my time. I have 3 practices a day, and I also have swim conditioning every morning at 5 a.m. And so I have to really manage my time a lot. I have 2 classes a day, and which I didn't have any say in. My coach picked them. If you do play sports, or if you join a club, you really need to make sure that you have it. It's really important that you have everything you're doing that day lined up and ready. Like, you can't just go with the flow. So you have to plan a lot if you're going to be able to, if you're going to take on something that's going to take up your time like that. And so I think it's really important. It taught me a lot about myself, because when I was in high school, I didn't really, I was go with the flow. I didn't write all the things out. I didn't plan my whole day ahead of me. And now I do have to do that. So I think that it taught me a lot about myself, but I do think it's a really big commitment, and it's not for everyone.
So I go to Christopher Newport, for the people who weren't here earlier, and I'm on the sailing team there. I didn't sail in high school, which is kind of funny, but I walked onto the team. I swam, and they don't have a swim team there, so I was looking for an athletic team to be a part of. And I talked to the coach, and he said, "Okay, you can try it out." And so I tried out, and then was on the team fall season, and then going to return for the spring season. So yeah, the time commitment was kind of interesting, because I wasn't planning on being on a sports team going into school, but I think it was really cool to be a part of a group on campus that met so often. And we did have 2 morning conditioning workouts during the week, and then 3 3-hour practices, so it was a large time commitment, but I think it was worth it.
And even if you aren't specifically involved in either a sports organization or something that's gonna take up a lot of time consistently, just studying in college is something that you're gonna do way more than you did in high school, no matter how much you currently study. I was probably at the library UVA for an average of 8 hours a day, just in between my classes. Because on Monday and Fridays, I only had 1 class. I only had 3 classes Tuesday through Thursday. They were only 15 minutes, so it wasn't much time actually being in lecture. But having to teach yourself concepts and go over what you already learned and cram for exams or things that just take a lot longer in general. So planning your day out, no matter what you're involved in, is something that you need to get used to.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a biology major, but I'm also a music minor, and those things don't overlap very much or at all. So it's kind of even though I'm not actually doing anything extracurricular from my degrees, the fact that I have a minor that I have to do completely different work from my major is I don't know. I have to think about what I want to do and what I have to prioritize for school. So this semester, unfortunately, I had to give my passion for band a little bit of a backseat, because my biology major it kind of kicked my butt, but I got through it in the end, and I know next semester how I can handle it better, so I can do more band and still keep up with my biology degree.
So what I'm hearing from a lot of our student athletes, ones that are in band or in ROTC, is that this experience, while it's a great experience, school is still something that has to come first. It's still something that takes up a lot of time. So having that time management is important. As you're looking for these experiences in the colleges and the best fit for you, make sure you're taking that into consideration, your major and the time commitment of these programs. question for you as well. How did you get involved in BT television, and what has your experience been like? And also, you mentioned being an actor as well.
So like, I don't really remember exactly how I found out about BT television, but it's like our broadcast program at Tech. And like, I'm a business major, so I shouldn't really even be in the club really, but I just was interested in doing it. I like talking, I like sharing information. So I do like the weekly What's Up. It's like our version of the weekend update if you watch SNL. And like, it's actually been really helpful because it's like public speaking. And if you're gonna be in business, it's know how to talk. So like, that's cross training. And then I'm also an ambassador for the School of Business. So like, I didn't even do that on purpose. It's helping me. So like, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. You need to like try everything, because I didn't think doing like news stuff would help me be an ambassador. So like, don't be afraid to try anything when you get to school.
I think that's a great point that Miles had about doing things that aren't necessarily in your major, but that you're just interested in. And he leaves it to a cross training. I think that's really cool because yeah, you never know what the skills that you gain, you never know how they'll benefit you in the long run. So yeah. You can do things that are outside your major.
And I'm opening this question back up for everyone as well. Many of our students asked, what was it like being that transition from being a high school senior to a college freshman? So how did that transition go for, if some of you can answer?
Well, this is another plug for Tech if you're going to Tech. So I did summer academy. It's like summer school, and it might sound bad, but that was like the best time of my life. So you go there early, like you leave. This year it starts in July. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be a counselor there, so you'll see me there if you come. You take 2 classes, so that's 6 credits. You get ahead, get to make your friends and everything. Know your way around campus. So like, it really gets you like adjusted early. And then like when your friends come in the fall, you can help them because you know the lay of the land. You already know people, so you don't have to worry about figuring everything out as everyone else is. You kind of get ahead of the curve. So like, definitely take opportunities to get ahead.
So for me, the biggest transition, which is like kind of a cliched one, is just the amount of freedom you have, which is like kind of a double-edged sword. Because on one hand, like, you have literally no one telling you what to do, so you can come back to your dorms at 3 a.m., like, you can go out whenever you want, like, there's literally no one telling you not to. But at the same time, there's also like no one reining you in, so you have to kind of like set a balance for yourself from like school and your social life and everything. So you can make all your own decisions now, so that can be a good thing, but it's also kind of stressful at the same time, so keep that in mind.
And you opened up a nice sort of leeway into what it's like living away from home, that self-responsibility, because no one's going to be checking up on you, seeing if you're doing your work or going to sleep early. Many of you mentioned the stress with work, but also the stress of just suddenly being away from your core family members and your friends here that you had here at Battlefield. So how do you manage stress in your post-secondary areas that you're in, and what support or services are available on campus? So that is available once again to everyone.
Towards the end of the semester, during finals, they have like, I'm pretty sure every school offers this, they have like different like de-stressing activities. Like my school, they had like specific, like they would give like all of the students like a massage. It was like weird, and like we had like animals that would like de-stress us. It was really weird, but I think that every school, like their main priority is to make sure that you're not stressed out. So like I really think it's like you can look into like what your school provides, but I do think that schools, until like finals come around, like there's not a lot that the school offers. That there's a lot of stuff you can do yourself. Like a lot of my teachers, like we would stop class and do like one of those like breathing like exercises like on YouTube. It was weird, but it did help. So I think that it just depends on like your school, your teacher, and like what the campus offers.
So when I moved, so I go to USC. So when I moved to California, even though I didn't feel homesick with my family, I felt a lot of like the stress moving away from like my friends and my best friend, and that hit hard on me. But for me, I definitely took advantage of the Student Health Center, and they actually at USC they provide like counseling services for free, which I thought was like, and like therapy for free. So like if you're just never be afraid to like ask for help or like seek advice from like older students or like professionals on campus, because they're like those resources are there for you. And there's also just like smaller things that the school puts on to make sure that you're living your best life on campus. Like we have like a meditation app, like a mindfulness app, just for USC students for free that has like brief like meditation stuff, and then like just like a lot of like in the graduate student governments, they do a lot of like things, they put on a lot of things that Macy said about just like, especially during finals week. Just like this, like they bring in puppies that you can like cuddle with so they can take away your stress, just like stuff like that. And like they might seem small, but they help.
Yep. In ODU, so every Tuesday and Thursday, they have something called an activity hour. So you don't have any classes during that time, and they have like always have events. So that's like perfect for de-stressing. And then like even if you don't have time for that, let's say you're in different clubs and stuff, one of the best things you can do is just set time aside for yourself. Like on the weekend or something, just find like that hour that no matter what you make for yourself. Like read a book, exercise, just do something for yourself to make sure you take care of yourself. So when the next week comes over, you're ready for it.
So it sounds like colleges have a lot of different, not only events that are happening, but I know one of our panel members mentioned the wellness center, so counseling services, study services, reaching out and knowing the different names for those different departments. Last answer for this question.
Yeah, so I'll be quick. JMU also has a counseling center, like was mentioned, but something that I have really found helpful is going to the gym. So at JMU, it's called UREC. And if any of you have not been in or even slightly interested in JMU, I highly recommend you go and see it. We have a lazy river, a spa, and all like the just general basic equipment, basketball courts, 2 tracks. So I highly recommend you go and see it. I found it's a great way to de-stress, especially during finals. I was going 3 to 4 times a week to just get myself on a schedule.
So more onto living on campus. For those that do live on campus and you have a roommate, you live in a dorm, what was that process like of selecting a roommate and selecting the dorm that you live in?
So I live in a suite style. Not every school provides these. Most big schools are community size and you have community bathrooms. But for suite style, I live with my team, and so Coffin is a commuter school because it's in Baltimore. So everybody that lives in the dorms is either a student athlete or they're in a program. I think that it's a big consideration as to what kind of dorm your school has, because not everybody wants to share like 20 showers with other students. And then, like for me, for suite style, I live with 8 other people, and we have 1 bathroom and a living room we share together. You are going to be sharing for several months the same place with them. So if you live at home, like, and you don't have like a roommate, this is gonna be like a big transition for you. You're not gonna get a lot of alone time. You're like at all. You're always gonna have somebody next to you. Like you're always gonna have somebody, and you'll get used to it. But I do think that it's gonna be something new, and it's gonna take time to like get used to it. And I do think that I'm not one of you guys can answer this. I didn't have the choice as to what roommate I got because I suite with my team. But they can probably tell you about like what it was like for them to pick a roommate.
Yeah, so a lot of schools, once you get accepted, they'll create Facebook pages. So I recommend getting a Facebook, and you can kind of like shop around almost for like a roommate. So I originally was looking on Facebook, but it was just really hard for me to find someone that I thought I'd be compatible with. So universities will also offer you to do the option of random. So I actually have had 2 roommates in 1 semester because I decided that my first roommate and myself didn't live that well together. It wasn't really just working out. We had different living styles. She would go to bed super early. I liked staying up later. I was extremely clean. She was maybe not so clean. So it was really easy for me at JMU to go to the Office of Residence Life and ask them and say, hey, I'm in a bad living situation. Is there any way I can change this? And they offered me another spot, and I was able to meet my now current roommate, and we get along so much better. We're very similar, so there is other options. So like, even if you don't like your roommate at first, stick it out for like a month or 2 because you just never know.
But there's always, at least at JMU, there's always the option to switch roommates, which I really liked. I don't recommend, I recommend if you want to do Facebook, do Facebook. If you want to go random, go random. I just happen to have a bad experience, but I know a ton of people who went random and their roommates and suite mates are now like their best friends. And as Macy said, I live in a hall style now, so my entire hall shares one bathroom, which is great because we don't have to clean the bathroom, but on the weekends, it gets really gross because we have like 25 girls sharing 3 stalls and 3 showers, and not everyone is that clean or considerate that there's other people using it, so it can get kind of gross. So if you have the option to choose, just take that into consideration.
I will say another thing to go with what Annie was saying, make sure you look at what your school requires for on-campus living. At CMU, we have to live on campus all 4 years, and he's moving off campus next year, so it's kind of like you have to see if you're okay with that, if you're not okay with that, and luckily they have cool dorms, so it's okay. But yeah, look at that when you're applying.
Last thing, because I live in a suite style, we have room checks every single week, and they're very intense room checks. Like you have to have like the bathroom like spotless where you will fail, and if you get failed, you get fined. It's like, so if you're not a very clean person, I don't recommend having a suite style bathroom because you are assigned specific jobs. You either have to clean the living room, you either have to clean the toilets, the showers, and the floors. So like you have to clean the floors by hand. So it's a pretty intense thing, and it's just like you can either like not clean and have a community bathroom, or you can clean and have your own bathroom. It's just your preference.
And last comment on this question, Miles?
I'm not gonna say like room with someone that's like completely different than you, because it's nice to have someone similar, but like the world's different, everyone's different. And like in the summertime, we got random roommates, and it was a student from China, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool, but like what if we don't even like speak the same language or something? But like that guy was the coolest guy I've ever met, and like to this day we're still friends. So it's like, don't be scared. Like it's better to be someone that's different, so you get to like work with other people. Because like Pang is like my friend now. Like so don't be scared because someone you don't know and you're uncertain about, because you never know like what you're gonna get out of that relationship.
So be open to those random experiences, those that want to move out and live with their best friends. Talk about what your living styles are like beforehand as well. I am going to skip to academics. We can come back to light or living away from home, but I do want to hit academics, and I'm looking at the time. So how, for all of our students once again, how did you pick your classes or your schedule?
So again, I'm in my school's honors program. Not every school has honors. I got a scholarship for it, and so pretty much 4 of my classes every semester are picked for me. So that's kind of it. And if you do not take the classes that they pick for you, you get taken out of the program and you get your scholarship taken away. So if you do decide to do your school's honors program or any sort of academic program, like keep that in mind, because like I'm really limited as to what classes I can take for the major that I'm doing. So I'm still gonna graduate with everybody else. It's just I have a specific set of classes that I have to take that other people don't.
Yep. So for engineers, for me at least at ODU, pretty much the first 2 years are just pure weed out classes. So they're basically trying to pick out who's going to survive for the next 2 years. So you don't have any flexibility until really your junior year. And then if you're double majoring, at least for engineers, you don't have any freedom on what you get to pick. So keep that in mind, because for a lot of technical majors, there'll be a lot of weed out classes, a lot of tough courses you have to get through. But once you get through it, you know that it's pretty much you're done with the hard part.
Well, for my major, I only have like 7 or 8 more classes to fulfill it, so I have a lot more flexibility in my schedule. I pick my schedule. I have really kind of any option. That you have some requirements that, or at least that you have to fulfill the humanities stuff, but it's generally just kind of pick whatever you want to take. And so that's nice because I can really take like sociology classes, psychology classes, even though my major is econ and math. So like I still have like a strong humanities background, So I always think it depends. Also your program, I know UVA, the engineering school, the kids in the East School, they have like very strict set of classes that they all have to take their first 4 semesters. But in the Arts and Sciences school, which is the main school for like really most universities, you have a lot more flexibility and freedom. So I would just recommend trying to take classes that are out of your comfort zone or that you normally wouldn't take. So
I'm hearing your classes and your schedules really depend on not only the school that you go to, but the major that you're in. So taking those into consideration as you sign up for these schools or apply to these schools and you have orientation, make sure to talk to your academic advisor what your schedule is going to look like and the flexibility you have. I know one of our panel members mentioned that double majoring or having a minor and a major. So Johanna, can you talk about your experience with having a major and a minor or 2 different majors?
Yeah, so I came in majoring in communication, so my first semester I took 16 units, which is 4 classes, but the maximum was 18, and I kind of felt like I was wasting the 2 units that my tuition was paying for, but I wasn't taking advantage of, so I knew I wanted to take on more, and I knew I wanted to spread myself out to different schools. So next semester, aside from majoring in communications, I'm taking up a minor in digital studies, which is in the film school, the School of Cinematic Arts. And then I'm also taking a prerequisite for another minor that I'm taking up next year in the School of Business, which is marketing. And for me, the reason why I decided I wanted to take up both minor in the film school and business school is that I wanted to make sure that I got out of USC, stepping into like different fields. I mean, the 3 fields that I'm looking at are not like polar opposites, but like I wanted to do the 3, like the cinematic, the film school, the business school, and the School of Communication at USC are all like well respected and all highly regarded for like their work. So I knew that I felt like it was going to be a waste if I went to a school that had great programs in those degrees and did not take advantage of that. And that's personally why I decided to double minor and major. But yeah.
And just like one more thing on like classes in general, take your AP exams seriously because they can save you like a lot of credits. So I came to UVA with already 44 credits like towards my degree. You only need 120 to graduate, so like I'm more than a year ahead. So that's just like nice for flexibility reasons and in terms of like what classes you can think about taking and like what lead-on classes that you can just get out of. Because intro, bio, and chem are like hard at literally any college you're gonna attend, no matter what. But like since I have credit for those, it's easy. I can just start in the higher level classes already. So
For our panel members that have taken AP and dual enrollment classes when you were in high school, how do those differ compared to your college classes that you're in now? Or is there a difference?
There's a difference in the sense that like in AP stuff, you have like a certain way to do everything. So I took AP Calculus and AP Lang and AP Lit when I was in high school, and I'm sure you guys are aware, like there's a certain way that you have to write, and there's certain just even words that you have to put in the essay, or there's a certain way you even have to solve the math problem that really doesn't exist, at least at JMU in the classes I've taken. The professor just wants to see it done, and they're not gonna be, they just wanna see it done, and they don't wanna like necessarily, they're not gonna nitpick and be like, oh, well, you didn't include this word or something like that. Like that doesn't really exist, but I felt like the workload or the rigor of the class helped me in college, because I had to retake, like as Tristan said, like take your AP exam seriously. Like I didn't go into college with any credit, but it's like totally fine. I'm still gonna graduate on time, but I really wish I would have gotten the credit. And I did try on my AP exams, I just didn't score well enough. But like in calculus in high school, I did take calculus again in my last semester, and the professor, all my exams were online, all my homework was online, so he just wanted to see the answer and not necessarily the entire process.
I think that for most of the classes that I took, I think that the AP courses are like a pretty good like representation of what college work is like. It's just that sometimes I felt that in college, they kind of, I don't think they teach the same amount of information in the year that you take an AP course, but in the semester that you take the class, I think you take in more information than you would in the semester of like an AP course, at least in my experience. So that's something to consider, because a lot of the time, because I take science classes and they condense a lot of information into a semester, and sometimes it got a little overwhelming to keep track of it all. So that's just something I would think about.
For me, my courses, I took a lot of AP courses here, but at college, I would say they're all more difficult. They're comparable, and I guess the information you're learning, but you have to keep in mind that you're learning it over a course of a semester instead of an entire year. And your grades are basically solely, at least for all my classes, on and off exams. So like your final exam will be about 40% of your grade. You have 2 other tests that are like each 20%, and then homework might be like 5%. So like you can, and for me, all my classes were attendance not required, so you didn't have to go to any of your lectures, but I went to mine just because it's good to be there. So it's like really hands off, your professors and everything, like really make what you make out of it, but it's probably the same amount of information, but much more difficult to learn it within one semester rather than an entire year. I think that's like the biggest difference.
I'm gonna move on from this question, I know.
If you're not like a senior yet, because I don't think all of you are seniors, like if you know you want to go to school in Virginia, like take dual enrollment and AP, because if you take all APs, you're not gonna take all of them. So don't put yourself in a hole. Take some dual enrollment, take some APs so you can get everything. Take all your credits.
And I was talking about the credits that colleges will take as you do that transfer process. It's still a transfer from your NOVA classes, those dual enrollment classes, or those AP exams. So schools will only accept a certain amount of AP exams, or it would only apply to certain college and certain classes. Someone mentioned not only with the AP classes, but with the weight in the AP classes and how that affects high school. Does the same weighted classes exist in college? No, thank you. Simple question, straight to the point.
And just more on the weight, another thing that you'll learn, which sucks, is if you get a 90 through a 92, it's an A minus, which is a 3.7 for your GPA. So you actually, yeah, so that kind of sucks. Just by the way.
And then for exams, because I know final exams would have just happened for many of you. What was that process like compared to maybe your high school final exams?
So you guys need to keep in mind that you don't have a lot, okay, in high school you have a lot of cushion. Your teachers give you a lot of assignments, they give you a lot of things. So if you do bad on one test or you do bad on something, it's not as big of a deal. In a lot of my classes in college, you don't have any assignments and you have like 3 big tests, or your final, like my final for speech was 400 points. That's huge. And all the other assignments I had in that class were either 5 or 10 points. So you cannot slack at all. And so a lot of times your classes in college, they don't have like finals, like the finals you might think. It could be just like any other test you had that semester. So it's nothing you have to freak out about. Like the speech that I had was 400 points. We also had 2 other speeches, so it wasn't like anything that I had to like freak out over. So when you go to college, like in its finals week, don't like think it's like, oh, it's like in those like it's like everybody's been saying like I'm freaking out. Like it's nothing like to stress too much over.
Yeah, and one other thing, like you really want to take your finals seriously, because for some engineering courses, your finals like over 60% of your grade. It's a class where it's 80% of your grade. So it's kind of like, what are you doing for the rest of the semester? But you have to take all your tests seriously, because I made sure I got all my basic tests good. So when I was able to take the final, even though it was like 30% of my grade, I only had to get a 70 to pass the class. So you really don't have to worry about it too much as long as you do the work beforehand to give you more of a cushion for it.
And I know we only have 10 minutes left, so I am going to go to the financial section next. Our students are currently applying to colleges, our seniors, and they're looking at the cost of the colleges, especially as they get their acceptance now. So for yourself and as students at your school, what opportunities as far as work study or paid internships or paid jobs are available that you may know of?
I did work study for the first half of this past semester, and so I worked in the chem labs, just like washing dishes, like washing the chem like equipment, and it took up a lot of time that I like realized I didn't have like the time or energy to put into it. So I stopped doing that
I'm not doing it anymore. But it was really good when I was doing work study, if you have the time for it. It's just like a little bit of extra money, and there are a lot of extra, like, different expenses that I wasn't anticipating. So it was really good to have that, but I'll have to figure out something else to do next semester.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to work, like at Tech, you can work at the gym, the library, or dining services. There's a lot of opportunities, but like you're there to learn. I'm not saying you shouldn't work if you don't want to get money, get the money, but you're there to learn. And they work with your schedule, but like don't be trying to chase the bag when like the bag is your degree, you know? So like focus on school.
Something you should also look at if, so like a university has like different schools for like different kinds of majors. So I'm in the School of Communication and Journalism, and there are jobs within the school. And if you take on work study jobs within the school, you get a lot of perks actually. So like sometimes you get first pick with your classes. I know we also, like if you're a senior, your parents can get to sit in front for like graduation. So just like look into that if like your school, like School of Business, School of Engineering, look if like they have specific work study jobs within the school, because they have a lot of perks that can benefit you directly as well.
And one of our panel members mentioned that there were some extra costs that they had to think about as the semester went through. What are some of those things associated with that extra cost that maybe you didn't think about before?
Honestly, I worked over the summer just to save up money for like to spend during college, and I spent so much more money in college than like I would have ever thought. Like, just the amount of, I mean, I don't really like eating at UVA's dining facilities, like it's not good. So I spend most of my money just eating out, honestly, with friends. So that's like a big money waster that you wouldn't really expect. Maybe.
I've never spent more on DoorDash and Uber Eats in my entire life. Like, I'm gonna be honest. And it's just like, that's something you do learn, like, your freshman year, like, you guys, no matter how much you think you're not gonna spend money, you will. Like, it's gonna happen. It's just like, that's something that you have to learn that it's going to happen. And it's just like, you can either, like, eat at your cafeteria, and like he said, like, my cafeteria is not good. So it's like, even I have unlimited swipes, and so I know I should use it, but like definitely the biggest thing that I've spent the most money on is definitely food. And so it's just like, you're not paying for gas, because a lot of times at colleges, your freshman year, you can't have a car on campus. So it's just like, keep that in mind. Like, I do suggest having a lot of like backup money that you don't try to spend just in case, because like I do like find myself a lot of times where I only have like X amount of money in my bank account, and it's just like that's unnecessary stress that you put on yourself. So I do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like Tristan, and I worked this summer, and I went back to that job over break, so that's always a good way to save up some money, that way you're not focused on work and school. Something that you need to consider, and I've heard it's different at other schools, I have to pay for my laundry, so every single time I have to do a load of laundry, I have to pay for it. I heard at Mason, you don't have to. Yeah, some people do and some people don't. I personally didn't spend that much money at college, just because JMU has a really, really good dining facility. We're like number 5 or something in the nation. Yeah, it's crazy. But you really need to keep a budget. Like, I wouldn't let myself spend a certain amount of money each week, and I also had like something called dining dollars. So on campus we have a Qdoba, Steak and Shake, Chick-fil-A, just things like that. So I budgeted my money out based on how many weeks I had left and how much I had left over, to kind of like adjust my spending there. So you just really have to plan out everything and just really budget your money.
And lastly, some other expenses to think about, especially as you go into your first semester. The cost of books isn't always included in tuition. Most of the time it's not included in your tuition, and those can be quite expensive. Any special events that are happening at your college campus or even in the community may cost money. That travel for out-of-state students, or even the gas to go to Virginia Tech from here, that 4-hour drive, can be quite a lot. Our panel members mentioned that extra food. Food is important. I'd like to focus on that. And then dorm supplies, especially if you're living in a dorm, you're not always going to have everything you need. So having that extra cost as well. With the 5 minutes that we have left, can I have each panel member just go down and say any final closing
be scared, because like everyone's going to be nervous too, and like college is great. It's freedom. You get to try everything. So like, don't limit yourself. That's 4 years of freedom to do whatever you want to, because in the real world's there after that. So like, childhood is ending. So take advantage of everything you get in college.
So for literally any opportunity you get, just say yes. Even if you don't think it's special, just try it, and you may learn something about yourself or others that you may never knew before.
Yeah, kind of just to go off that is just try every single opportunity. You never know what's gonna happen. And if you really struggle like the first month or two of college, like don't worry about it. There's a ton of other people out there who are with you too, so just try and get through it. It will be a lot better.
So something that I learned, like my first semester, just living at home and everything, is that when you get upset with your parents and you're living at home, don't like drive off and like go on Cat Harpin, because I went on Cat Harpin Road and I flipped my car on Cat Harpin Road and I got a concussion. I flipped my car and I got a concussion and I'm behind a semester now. So my degree, I'm like a year behind. Yeah, because I'm 20 now. I'm like, they're treating me like a baby, okay? No, but I was upset and everything. So like, listen to your parents. Trust me, it's the best thing to do.
Do any of you want to play sports in college? No? Okay. The only thing that I suggest is no matter how much you want to get away from your family, they're going to be one of your biggest just people to talk about things with, and you're going to have to go home eventually, so please keep communication. Like first month you're in college, you're going to get carried away and you're not going to talk to them, but like eventually you're going to find yourself, you're going to need them in some way. So just try your best to like keep in like good communication and keep talking, because like I remember like there was a good amount of time where I just stopped talking to my mom and I didn't realize like it was like impacting like my family, because like they felt like they were missing out on my life. And so it's just like no matter how independent you want to be, just like try to keep that in mind.
For all the people that are going to live off campus for their first semester, my recommendation is that you go out and you actually try to meet people, because if you don't like put yourself out there and talk to new people, people usually won't come up to you and talk. And since you don't live on campus, you don't have the benefit of being forced to be with someone in your dorm or in your suite. And the other thing I would say is if you ever need it, most universities, if not all of them, have some form of like counseling and psychological services, and they're always there to help you if you ever like feel overly stressed about your work, or maybe things aren't going as you expected. And so I just recommend going to see them if you need it.
My advice is mainly for the seniors who have submitted their apps or are about to. I spent a lot of my senior year insanely stressed about like my applications, like after I submitted them. But like there's nothing you can change now, like after that you submitted it, and like it's not worth it to like stress over it, because you're gonna go to a school that if you put yourself out there too, and like if you really like take advantage of all the opportunities you're gonna get there, like you're gonna enjoy. So just don't waste your last year here stressing out about some things that you can't change. So that would be my biggest advice.
Yeah, I want to echo what Hannah was saying. I like spent my entire senior year just stressed out about getting into like these crazy universities. It's not worth it. You'll look back on it and be like, I was really down. But also, don't try to get everything done your first semester in college. Like, yeah, like it's your first like time away from home, and like you're gonna want to join all these clubs and do X, Y, and Z. But like, take time to relax. Like, you're still just a freshman in college. Like, you have time to like join all these activities. And yeah, that's my advice.
The best advice I got going to college was to bloom where you're planted, which is very cliche, but like be confident in the skill set that you have, that you can do well wherever you go. And I'll also say that like you can get an education in a lot of places, but one of the things that is unique to the college college life is the relationships that you can make both in the community with the other people, like other students and professors. So definitely take advantage of that, and don't forsake the relationships that you've made in the past, like in high school or with your family, like Macy was saying. I love coming back, seeing my friends, and still having those relationships that I've maintained in college.
So the bell is about to ring. I want to say thank you to our panel members and thank you to everybody